Good morning, everybody. Okay, how are print handlers going? You all ready to go? Yep, excellent. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the 2019 AIPP Epson, Queensland Epson Photography Awards in Brisbane. And today we're judging the 2019, well, I get to say it again, AIPP Epson Queensland Professional Photography Awards Family category, sponsored by CR Kennedy. My name is Sarah McKenna, and I'll be your panel chair for this session. Faro Yavari is our scribe. And thank you to all our crew of print handlers. At the back this morning, we have Mal, Troy, and Jody. This category is intended for images that reflect what domestic photographers sell or aim to sell to their clients. The family category will be judged in two sections, family open and family single capture. The category is judged in two sections to assist the judges in their assessment. However, there is only one award. Entries into this category must be commissioned by the family depicted in the entry. Your entry does not have to be the photograph you sold to your client, but it must be from the same photography session. Images of members of your immediate family are prohibited. Polyptychs, diptychs, triptychs, etc. are permitted in both sections. So the family single capture, this section is intended to reward technical and creative excellence in photographing and presenting an authentic representation of a scene without the benefit of creative compositing techniques. And if judges are ready, can we have our first print, please? Just bearing with us for a moment, we do have a small technical difficulty. And whilst we are fixing this, I realised I was remiss in introducing our amazing judges. So we have Judge 1, Jacinta Dalben, followed by Francis Suter, Paul Sincotta, Chris Anderson and Leslie Downey on our panel. We also have at the ready Kelly Tunney and Alison Hawkins. Thank you for your patience, everybody. Thank you, judges. This print has scored 75. I'd like a comment from Paul, please.
Cool, 74. I gave it 74. What was the overall score? 75?
75,
75, yeah, look, good professional practice, presented with an image which would be perfect for a client. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more light on the actual subject's face rather than perhaps around the outside of the head. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. The next print, please. Entering your scores, please, judges. This print has scored 76. Leslie, can I ask you to comment to the print, please?
A very real family moment. It's been well captured. However, I feel that it could have been cropped on the right-hand side because the father's head is too dominant in the image and could have been cropped out.
Thank you, Leslie. May we have our next print, please? This print scores 79. Jacinta, may I have a word from you, please?
Yeah, I struggled with this one a little bit. I was on the verge of going into the silver range. The only thing that sort of held me back was probably the paper choice. I would have liked to have seen possibly in a matte, only because there's so much. The focus is on the baby and everything else is sort of blurred. Maybe a different paper choice would have suited it, even a texture through it.
Thanks, Jacinta. Next print, please. This print has scored 75. I'd like a comment from Chris, please.
Solid professional image. A couple things to watch for: the skin tones, particularly the girl's legs on the right, and maybe if the photographer had just kind of hunched down a little tiny bit, that girl on the left, her head wouldn't be touching the back of the chair visually. But it's a solid print, so well done.
Thanks, Chris. May we have our next print, please? This print scores 73. Frances, may I get a comment from you, please?
Let's look at nice professional practice, nice moment of the couple. Just watch the focus in the foreground is a little bit confusing around their feet. It's quite sharp and it falls off quite quickly. Probably also that the colors in the bridge there, I guess it's people. It's just a little bit too dominant, that orange dot there, which takes me away from the actual scene of the couple. Yeah, and just in the water as well, there's a bit too much light there happening, so tone that down a little bit. But nice professional practice.
Thank you, Frances. May we have our next print, please? This print has scored 77 and challenged two people threw their hands up. Leslie was quickest, so Leslie is challenging. Leslie is on 83. Leslie, you have another 83 with you, a 77, a 72 and a 68.
I need to work on the 77. Look, congratulations to the photographer. Usually when you're doing family portraits, it's about the family and the dog is superfluous. In this case, it's about the dog's response to the new addition in the family. And you can read the narrative. It is very original, it is humorous, it is very real, and we all recognise this when we have new babies in the family and how the pet feels. So from an originality point of view, it's well done. How it's presented to us, you know, with the three separate stories of the dog is beautifully presented, and I think I'd like to see this as a silver award, so if our judges can consider that, please.
Thank you, Leslie. Paul, please.
Okay, I was a little bit harsher on this one. I scored at 68. A little bit lower on the, I guess the presentation was probably my issue with the buckling of the print. I think for a professional print award competition, I would like to see a print that's actually matted properly. And that was the only thing that sort of really brought me right down. I agree the story is fantastic. It is about the dog. I would have perhaps considered the argument if in the centre image the dog was perhaps a little bit brighter, perhaps on the same sort of level as the actual baby, then I could have taken that story all the way through across all three images. But unfortunately, due to the print quality in its presentation, I don't know if I can actually come up that high.
Thank you, Paul. Chris, you're on 83 with Leslie. Can you comment, please?
I want to echo everything Leslie said. If you're commissioned to do a shoot like this, it's not going to be for the dog probably. So to see this series of images and tell this story is wonderful. I agree with Paul that there's issues with the print, with the way it's been adhered to the backing. And I probably would have gone higher if that had been sorted, but it didn't take away from the magic of the narrative that's presented here and the loyalty of this animal, particularly that last print where he's kind of, the dog's lying on the man's knee. If I was going to have one other negative, it'd be the bright kind of spot on the most left-hand frame, just above the dog's head being a bit distracting. But for me, this is, I'm with Leslie in silver.
Thanks, Chris. Leslie, your right of reply, please.
Yes, the matting issue is a very minor problem, but to me, that is not detracting enough from what that narrative is actually presenting to us. The presentation of the centre image with the bar of the cot is giving another graphic component, which is brilliant. And was it Chris that said, or Paul that sort of said about the lightness of the dog in the centre image? I think that is quite deliberate to actually focus then on the baby. And the dog is looking at the baby thinking, well, you know, is it going to be the main person in this family or am I? But then in the third image, the dog is very much part of that family. So you start off with the narrative of, oh, look, there's somebody else in the family. The second one, is the baby going to be more important than me? And the third one is the resolve and the resolution of the story. Yes, I'm very much here. I think it's brilliant.
Thank you, Leslie. Pardon me. Leslie, your score stays at 83, and judges rescore now, please. Oh. Actually, Leslie, can you re-enter your score, please? This print has scored 80, silver award. Now, just to explain what happened there with Leslie having to re-enter your score, because Paul's score was more than 10 points below, but I took your challenge being the 5 points above, it wasn't sure which one to pick up. Okay, excellent. May we have our next print, please? This print has scored 77. Can I get a comment from Paul, please?
Look, a beautiful image. If this was my family, I'd be very happy to see it on the wall. It's excellent professional practice. It's the sort of thing that we supply to our clients on a daily basis. I guess to take it up into the award category, I would have liked to have seen perhaps a bit more control on the skin tone. It's a beautiful moment, but that moment wasn't enough to sort of carry it through into something that's extraordinary.
Thank you, Paul. Next print, please. This print has scored 76. Leslie, may I have a comment, please?
Yes, I think this is very good professional practice, well captured expressions. I'm finding that there's something about the yellow and the girl's hair piece on the right and the yellow dress on the left, which is just not quite sitting harmoniously with the rest of the colour palette, but it's a well captured professional image.
Thank you, Leslie. So Sue has just brought in Frank, our World Photographic Cup trophy, sitting on our table. All the way from Norway. This is for the online stream that I'm repeating it. And we have some of the team in the room here with Chris and Kelly. Okay, well done to Australia for winning that one. I felt like a very slow interpreter then. Okay, can we have our next print, please? This print has scored 80, Silver Award. Frances, can I have a comment from you, please?
Well done to the photographer. I love these nearly teenage boys. It even looks like they were told to put a face on, but it's actually quite effective. The four boys looking in different directions and pulling different faces, different poses. Love the pose of the boy in the middle there. I would just say just a little bit of a color cast maybe in the white. There's a bit of blue, too much blue in there. So just watch that. Just it could be improved in terms of color cast and printing a little bit.
Thank you, Frances. May we have a blank screen, please? So that's the end of the family single capture. We will head into the family open. The entrants may utilise all post-production techniques, including multiple images or elements in producing their entry for this section. And while you're all sitting there poised, I'll actually do a quick judges change, please. Chris, can I get you to come out for me, please? And Kelly, I'm going to pop you in there. Okay, can we have our next print, please? Thank you, judges. This print has scored 81, Silver Award. Frances, may I have a comment, please?
Okay. Yeah, look, I liked it. It's a unique story there. It's quite grabbing. I like the colour palette. I think it's really out there and courageous. Just in terms of technical aspects, the girl being glued to the wall or sticky tape to the wall, I can actually see where she's been put in. So that could be really finalised and just crafted a little bit more in detail. Also, just a little bit more on the bottom there, I found it's a bit tight, the crop where the feet are. So there's just a couple of improvements that can take place there.
Thank you, Frances. Next print, please. And we are at the 2019 AIPP Epson Queensland Professional Photography Awards. This is the family category, sponsored by C.R. Kennedy. And we have our wonderful Bruce Williams from Epson here today with an amazing stand outside with all his wares and printing, and he is fabulous to speak to. So go out and visit him and show our sponsors some love. Thank you, judges. This print scores 78. If I can get a comment, please, from Kelly.
G'day. I think that the crop for me is just a little bit too tight down the bottom. It just needed a little bit more room to breathe. The expression on the little boy is beautiful. It's probably a little bit hot on the left side of his cheek as well.
Thank you, Kelly. All right, can I hear the next print, please? Thank you, judges. This print has scored 75. Paul, can I have a comment from you, please?
Look, interesting concept. I get the narrative of it. Initially, it sort of made me a little bit awkward, but I sort of came to understand the story. I just wasn't completely impressed by the composition of the compositing of the perhaps the baby and the snake and combined together. Just the artwork of actually putting that together didn't seem as polished as what I would like to have seen in an awards category. But other than that, great print. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Okay, we're going to keep you all on your feet. Frances, can I ask you to have a quick break? And Chris will bring you back on, please. Keep everyone rotating around. And we'll have our next print, please. This print has scored 79. And there's a challenge from Kelly on 84. Kelly, you have an 82, two 78s, and a 72 to work with.
Yeah, props for innovation. Instagram best 9. I've not seen this sort of presentation before. I just really enjoying someone having the courage to try something a little bit different, you know. And it it's engaging. It's a really beautiful narrative across this baby just being born, you know, for this, what's their Instagram handle? Baby makes 3. There's a bit of thought into all that sort of stuff. It's kind of humorous, but it's lovely as well. And I think it just is such a unique, innovative sort of presentation for something, you know, that's quite cool. It's a silver for me at 84, a solid silver too. So I just encourage a couple more points. I think we can get it over the line.
Thanks, Kelly. Paul, you're on 72. Can we hear from you, please?
Yeah, I was sort of a little bit further down than Kelly, I guess. I wasn't necessarily seeing anything innovative here. I have seen this sort of thing before, so it wasn't a new presentation. Obviously, we sort of see this thing on Instagram all the time as well. To bring that sort of medium into the print wasn't necessarily a game changer for me. I guess initially, though, my initial reaction was the big bright red head in the top right-hand corner. I was distracted by that baby's face, and I guess that intensity of the colour, and then followed by the blue donut in the centre. So I was sort of a little bit confused by the narrative that I was trying to sort of, I guess, be shown. The communication of the subject and the storyline wasn't really there for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Jacinta, you're up there with Kelly on 82.
Yeah, just to address the areas that we're struggling with. The baby's face that's red, that's pretty much how babies are when they're born. To me, that's how I saw it. That's reflecting the baby's, you know, first breath sitting on mum, and the blue donut in the middle obviously is reflecting the pool that she's given birth in. We may have seen this sort of thing before, but it's been done really well. There's no real flaws in any area. The composition I'm finding is lovely. I would have even gone a little bit higher. The only thing is I probably would have liked, I know maybe this is in order of their best 9, but the top 3 to be more down the bottom rather than at the top. That's the only thing that held me back from going higher. But I think it's been beautifully presented, beautifully printed. Colour tone to me reflects a birth. It's definitely in the silver range.
Thanks, Jacinta. Kelly, back to you for your right of reply, please.
Yeah, thanks for saying that. In terms of the colour, it's reality. It's you know, it's not meant to be completely perfect in terms of colour tone, sort of colour casting within a baby that's you know, literally 2 minutes old. That's how they come out. You know, in terms of, I like the smack bang circle right in the middle, because I found myself, I was moving around in it, and I think the colour harmony between those blues and magentas actually even out to be kind of well rounded for me. And you know, in terms of just level of difficulty with, you know, these can't be letters. These need to be. This is just to add to something, but you know, they're all photographic elements. So I think just props for just showing something a little bit different, and I think it's presented really well for a silver award.
Thanks, Kelly. Your score stays locked in at 84. All other judges, please rescore now. And the image has come up at 82, silver award. Excellent teamwork. Can we have our next print, please? Thank you, judges. This print scores 81, a silver award. Kelly, you're smack on 81. Can you comment for me, please?
Yeah, I'd have to say I've seen a similar concept before several times. I suppose it's just the finessing that could have really pushed this up a little bit. Just try a little bit of change in the silhouettes. I perhaps missed the story a little bit. Just the use of just flipping the trees, maybe adjust that a little bit. Just move it up a little bit without it making it too predictable. With respect, I say that.
Thank you, Kelly. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. This print scores 82, a silver award. And Kelly's challenging that. Kelly is on 88. Kelly, you're working with an 84, an 82, and two 77s.
Oh, g'day.
Hi.
Hi. Hi, Queensland. Okay, challenging. First up, very challenging image to judge. I'll just say that straight up.
My apologies. And there's a hand over Kelly's mouth, and that won't happen again.
Apologies.
Hello, Queensland.
Please have me back one day. No, ballsy for just throwing something in the mix that is difficult. And I did hesitate, and I looked at my paper, and they're all good things that get me excited on a Saturday morning at 8 o'clock or whatever it is. I love the order of, from starting at the bottom, we have a pregnancy planning kit, all the way up to, what the mum and dad are sort of buying now. We've gone through the dog food, to newborn stuff, to toddler stuff, to adult stuff. I kind of like this cool transition. I might have been a bit lost with the barcode at the bottom. The connection was a little bit lost there, and that's only because I'm talking, if that was a bit more of a connection for me, I would be talking gold here. But it's funny, it's humorous, it is innovative. I've not seen anything like this before. And in this category, it's tough to give us something that just excites us. And I think a silver distinction is a nice little spot to sit in for something that's it's just making me smile. I'm still looking at it, and it's making me really happy. So I'd like to hear a discussion. Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks, Kelly. Jacinta, we'll go to you. Minding your language, of course.
I agree, it's very innovative and we haven't seen it before, and I did love the storytelling of it. I guess where I struggled is the image of the actual family in the barcode is nothing that fascinates me, and I know it's a barcode, but the line going directly through Dad's face. could have been altered slightly. I'm listening to maybe going to the silver range, but silver with distinction, I think those small aspects is probably what's holding me back.
Thanks, Jacinta. Leslie, you were 84. Can we hear from you, please?
Yes, I did struggle where to actually put my score on this one because, yes, it is challenging. Yes, it is innovative. Yes, there is a very strong narrative there. Yes, it's original. I pulled it back to 84 and didn't go into silver distinction because the story in all of the purchases from Woolworths indicates that there is a dog, and there's no dog in the picture. So what happened to the dog? So consequently, the narrative falls apart, and so I'm comfortable with 84, but I think I still get a great sense of a modern, contemporary family, and it's presented with a lot of originality, and it's a great thought idea that's gone into it. I don't have a problem with the barcode going through the people at all. I think that's sort of irrelevant, really. But the concept of doing this is terrific, and I do get a great sense about who that family is. But silver distinction, I'm not quite sure, but I think certainly silver it's worthy of.
Kelly, your right of reply?
To me, everything you said, Leslie, is almost a silver distinction to a gold distinction. You know, just superior communication, superior imagination, craft and skill, which is what a silver with distinction is. I have to agree with Leslie about the barcode. It's irrelevant because that portrait of this family is not meant to be a standard portrait, you know, that they would put up on their wall with lines going through their face. It's a barcode, so it's going to have the break in the lines, I guess. The dog thing, like, I just think they've got 3 kids. The dog's probably passed away, I'm sorry to say, and they've got 3 kids, you know. But in terms of this is hard to do. There's only a handful of people that can probably have the patience and tenacity to actually remember, these are all photographic elements. How long would this thing take to do? That's not why I want to reward it, I must say, but in terms of its innovation, it's making me feel happy, it's humorous, and I love that the story in the actual items, you know, this is not a silver. We're talking beyond that, I think. So I would like to see it go up a couple more points to get it nudged into silver distinction.
Thank you, Kelly. Your score stays at 88. Other judges, please rescore now. And the print has scored 83, silver award. Okay, we're going to do a quick judges change to keep you all on your toes and completely not for any reason we've just had. I'd already picked who I was going to change out. Leslie, can I get you to jump off the panel for me, please? And we'll have Alison in. And can we have our next print, please? This printer scored 85, a silver award. Yeah, no, everyone just went, should we clap? Kelly's challenging on 92. So, Kelly, you have an 86, an 83, an 81, and a 78 to chat with. And yes, that's right. It's not an automatic, it's an elected challenge, so take it away.
Without reading word for word what a gold is, it's it's outstanding. It's clever. I'm just not just smiling, I'm laughing on the inside because it's just what a great representation of a rad friggin' family, and the attention to detail, innovation, just interpreting. One of those three children have done this most perfect, drawing of their family, and this photographer has recreated it. What a collaboration between a photographer and a family to sort of put something like this together. Just Daisy, I just love Daisy, and the fact that the drawing of Daisy at the top. It just mimics, look at her little personality, her stance, everything. You can see whoever did draw that is on the money there, because it's just such a good mirroring of this little girl. The dog, the tail, it's just so clever. Oh my gosh. And so, look, well done for its level of craft and skill, and just... again, I know I did say it before, but in this category, it's challenging to think outside the box. That's what gold is all about. And I've got a little shaky in my voice. It's exciting. So get in there. I want a gold.
Thanks, Kelly. Paul, you're on 78. I'd love to hear from you, please.
Okay, look, I enjoyed the image. I too thought it was innovative and different, but I guess listening to your argument, Kelly, it's interesting to sort of try and sort of work out who the artist is, and whether or not it's actually a 7-year-old girl or 4-year-old boy, or the actual photographer. And I'm sort of starting to question sort of what we're actually judging as well, whether we're judging the actual photographer's artwork or the child's artwork. And I guess I'm confused by the presentation of the dual image. I'd like to hear more around why we're seeing the two images, whether we're actually seeing the plan of what the mother asked the photographer for, and this is what we want to see as an end result. And then, if I was going to put this up on the wall of the family, which one would I actually put up on the wall? I think I'd be more inclined to go with the child's artwork than the actual photograph, and that's sort of where I'm sort of down below that sort of silver category, because I'm sort of wondering what the photographer has actually brought to the actual photograph. So if you could perhaps help me out with that, I'd be happy to listen.
Alison, you're on 86. Can you chat, please?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what Kelly said. I got up there, and once I saw the little boy's arm was gone and his superhero costume, I kind of had a bit of a light bulb moment as well. I went, oh, it's really good. Whether or not the child drew the picture and that is the inspiration for the photo, I think that, the photographer had that vision to put them both together and just present them like that. It could be how one of the kids see their family, the girls with sass, the little teeny tiny dog, the superhero boy. Mum and dad are really funky. But yeah, I could probably go up a couple of points with Kelly. I was confused about the lack of shadowing in the bottom, but then I thought they're probably meant to look like that because they're meant to look like the picture up the top. So,
Thanks, Alison. We are talking about a gold here. Jacinta, can I have your comments, please?
Just as Alison said, that was the thing that was sort of bothering me, was the grounding of everyone on the bottom just was quite jarring for me. They just felt like they were floating. But like you said, maybe they are supposed to look like that to reflect the image above. I don't think that we can really decide who drew the picture or not. To me, it is a very clever idea to replicate that. And if my child did that picture, and I'd be pretty proud to reflect it in an image, and I know that they'd be ecstatic to know that we've recreated it in a photograph. I think it's very cleverly done. I don't know if I'm at gold yet, Kelly, but I'm willing to go into the silver with distinction range.
Chris.
We're all talking. I'm going to say it was Lola who drew it because the attention to detail on the shoes is really spot on. I kind of agree with what everyone else has said. Probably it's a really innovative concept, and it makes me smile to look at it, and that's really important. Agree with Jacinta about the grounding and what Alison said about the shadows. I think that would have been useful. I'm on 83. I think I'm willing to come up to silver with distinction, but I want to hear some more about what's going to bring me into gold. This is primarily, we are judging, this is a photography thing. I'm looking at the photograph going, I want to see more to bring it to gold. And I'm listening, so let's hear.
Kelly, back to you for your right of reply.
Yeah, I think to start with some of Paul's words in terms of, which one is the one you'd put on the wall. I mean, look, imagine one without the other. Okay, the one at the top probably couldn't realistically be here without the bottom. I think that it's just giving us a little bit more of a hint and an insight into this family by, I think that that drawing at the top is a legitimate real thing that was either shown to the photographer, and they're like, this is the way we represent our family, and we want it in a photographic nature. And perhaps the one on the right, at the bottom, was the one on their wall, because to them that has meaning and significance. If it wasn't there to us, we wouldn't understand it. So I think it's been put here for us, and I don't think that perhaps the family would necessarily put this on their wall as it is right here. Thank you for the little boy on the left, the superhero. Like, he's the happiest person there, and he's only got one arm. God love him. That just emotional impact. Then it starts to just take on all sorts of other meanings, but it has so much personality in it. And in terms of just addressing some of the technical things, we're not talking about a nice family studio portrait where everyone's leaning in and smiling with their hands under their chin. This is something that's quirky, unusual. It's okay for them to look like cardboard cutouts. That fits the vibe. It's adding to the ballsiness that this photographer has given us. So in terms of a gold look, superior in so many things. I'm not talking a 98 and a gold distinction here. I think we're probably not going to see something like this again. And I, honest to God, haven't seen anything like it. So look, I don't know if I can get you over the line. But it excites me, and I really, really love it. Well done to whoever did it. It's great.
Thanks, Kelly. Your score stays at 92. Other judges, please rescore now. And this print now scores 87, silver with a distinction. Excellent. Next print, please. Alison, can you just double check that your score's been entered through, please? Excellent. This print scores 79. Kelly. I know you've just chatted a lot. I'll actually get you to comment on this one, please.
Quite a beautiful print, actually. I just feel, for me, the mother, the emotional connection just doesn't feel like it's quite there. I think it's just a bit more. She just needed to be perhaps a little bit more engaged with the baby, and I think perhaps some of the techniques on the skin smoothing was just gone a little bit too far. If that was sort of pulled back a little bit, it's not far off, but correct a few of those things would probably get up to a silver.
Thank you, Kelly. May we have our next print, please? This print scores 82, silver award. Alison, can we have a comment from you, please?
Yeah, well done to the photographer. I rewarded it on its innovation. I thought it was a great depiction of probably the kid's vision of his family.
Thanks, Alison. And can we have our next print, please? Thank you, judges. This print scores 80, silver award. And Paul's challenging that. Paul is on 85. You're working with an 84, 82, 77 and 74.
So just a couple more people to convince, I think. Look, superior practice, definitely. We've taken a pregnant mother and created a genuine piece of art using some, I guess, some composition techniques or compositing techniques. But it's certainly something that has been done before, but I'm really enjoying the end result. I could certainly see this up on a wall in a family home, complementing decor for years to come. And this is a mum with a baby. I can just imagine the child looking back at this in years to come, down the track, 20 years' time, and that photo's aged up on the wall, will look even more beautiful. I really think it's a beautiful image, something that needs to be rewarded for its beauty.
Thank you, Paul. Alison, you're on 74. Can we hear from you, please?
Yeah, I went up. I was intrigued when it turned around. I really like the geometric design of the image. I guess when I went up there, I was waiting for a little bit more story, and it was just repetitive. So I'm willing to go up a little, sorry, because it is a great idea, and it's innovative. But yeah, I was just looking for a little bit more story to the image rather than the repetition. But I'm willing to listen.
Thank you, Alison. Chris, you're on 82. Oh, sorry, no, I will. As much as I love listening to you speak, I'm actually going to go to Jacinta because Jacinta's on 84.
In regards to storytelling, I don't think we really need the storytelling in this. I think the actual graphical innovation that's being given to us is the story, and to me, like the way that the mother's body repetition all around the centre to me is like the egg. It's also like a flower. It's blooming. The only thing that held me back going even higher was I was unsure why the actual mother with the baby is underneath and in that position. So I'd like to know why the photographer's chosen that position. But otherwise, it's been done perfectly, compositional-wise, tonality, printing. It's a beautiful piece of art.
Thank you, Jacinta. Paul, back to you for your right of reply.
You can see a flower, if you can see art in what's, essentially a single capture, but then perhaps reworked to create something very, very special that will belong on someone's wall in a family home, then it's definitely, a little bit more than just a standard professional practice. So I would encourage our fellow judges just to come up a little bit higher.
Thank you, Paul. Your score stays on 85. Other judges, please rescore now. This print has scored 82, silver award. May we have our next print, please? You are attending or listening or watching the AIPP Queensland Epson Professional Photography Awards in sunny old Queensland. It was 4 degrees this morning when I got up. This category is sponsored by CR Kennedy. Thanks to everyone at CR Kennedy. This printer scored 77. I'll get a comment from Chris, please.
So it's a great print, good job. A couple things that you want to look at if you want to take it further. I think it needs a little more breathing room in the bottom, just underneath the teddy bear's feet, and the kind of the burning around the girl's arm and towards the bottom left and right of the print it's a little heavy and a little distracting, and fixing those elements would really help this.
Thanks, Chris. Next print, please. Paul, can you double check that score has gone through for me, please? Thank you. This print has scored 82, silver award. And if I can get a comment from Jacinta, please.
Really, really clever design. This made me laugh when I got up there. The only thing is grounding, which helped me back, is once again, that just feels like they're floating on the bottom, and a little bit more believability in the actual concept together. So I did believe it, but I wanted just a little bit more. It looked like it was a little bit staged, especially in the second half of it.
Thanks, Jacinta. Can we have our next print, please? Thank you, judges. This print has scored by majority a 79. And Alison's going to challenge that on 84. Alison, you have an 83, 2 78s and a 77.
Okay.
Nice and close with the
Sorry.
microphone, please.
Yeah, it's a beautiful image back here. The colour is really beautiful. When I got up, I think it's a really lovely take on a family, and the little bird off to the right. Possibly, I'm reading that they've lost one, perhaps. And I just rewarded it for the storytelling of a family's journey through parenthood, 3 children, possibly a loss, maybe the brown. I think it's earth. I'm not sure. Is sort of like the flip side. Up the top, it's all green and happy, but underneath, there's been something that's happened. Was my take on it, which is why I rewarded it, because I got quite a bit of a story out of the image.
Thanks, Alison. Kelly, you're on 77. Can I hear from you, please?
Yeah, I didn't understand the story for me. I just think for a silver award, at least the level of finessing to do composites this way need to be really worked on. There's sort of a really strong colour cast happening through the back of the sky, the way the parents have been placed. You can see the placements all way too clearly, and just a little bit more work on those sorts of things would have really helped. And I think the balance, everything's just, it doesn't sit right on the paper for me. Perhaps a little bit more space out to the right or something like that. But what it comes down to is just the technical parts to it that really let it down. So that's why I didn't go into silver.
Thanks, Kelly. Chris, you're on 83, so up there a bit.
Yeah, I put this into silver. I think as a clever and creative family portrait, it's well done. And I read a similar story with the bird flying off. There's a few things that kept me from going higher, and I would have loved to have gone higher. Probably the biggest concern that I had was the bottom of that, the kind of ball with the roots and stuff. It looks like it's been cut out, and I think there's potential to have kind of an edge that reflects the texture that's underneath it. And there's a portion of that kind of the vine that's going off to the sky where it turns kind of brown, and it's got less of that magical green, fresh, alive color to it. And those kind of held me back. But I still put it in silver because I think it's a strong print. So I'm there with you, Alison.
Thanks, Chris. Alison, your right of reply, please.
Yeah, I do agree. It could be finessed a little bit more with the compositing, but I rewarded it for the storytelling and just the innovation of a beautiful family portrait and their depiction of their family. So just a point or two. I think it's worthy of a silver.
Thank you, Alison. Your score stays at 84. Judges, can you rescore now, please? This print scores 81, silver award. And can we have a blank screen, please? That is the end of our family category. Thank you to C.R. Kennedy for sponsoring it, and to Mal, Troy and Jody for turning the prints out the back, and our judges and our panel. We'll have a very quick actually, we're going to have 10 minutes break until we come back for our next one. Time to get a coffee from the amazing silver van outside. Can someone please tell me what they're called? It's Aero something, pardon? A Hody Roder and a Holy Roller. Let's just make words up. The Holy Roller's out the front with coffees for those who are here. And if you're not here, you should come down just to see the Holy Roller. All right, we'll be back soon. Thanks.